All right, back to baseball. Who are the key players for the Indians in the second half? I think a couple of them are obvious. And by the way, if I ask you if it's a key player, does it have to be somebody who has not contributed and should, or somebody who has and should continue to?
Yeah, I think it can come from any category, but I mean, the first one that comes to mind to me is Jose-Ramirez. I mean, when he wasn't himself last year, they didn't last long in the playoffs.
And well, it comes to mind also by Brian, who put this together.
Yeah.
We did not rehearse this.
No.
All right, so you take a look pre-All-Star of 18 and post-All-Star of 18, and then what he's done so far in the 2019 season. And it looks like he hit the wall about August of last season.
Yeah, now over the last, I don't know what it is, maybe 15 games, something like that, he started to come out of it a little bit.
Right.
Is that the quality of the opponent they're facing? We'll find out.
I don't know, in his case, I don't know if that matters. It seems to me just hitting anybody, any major league pitching.
He's just, you know, I asked Cliff Floyd about that the other day too, because, you know, I don't know if you remember that Tom Verducci, who writes for SI.com, had written something earlier this year about this being maybe one of the greatest collapses by an MVP candidate.
From 1 year to the next?
Yeah, from 1 year to the next. And I mean, to even find something similar, I think he dredged up like Terry Pendleton, who also played third base and who was
played for the St. Louis
and then the Atlanta Braves, I think, for a little bit. But the point of his article was that Pendleton was 31, 32 when that happened. This guy was 25, and Cliff Floyd, you know, he didn't try to sugarcoat that. He just said he sees him popping balls up that he would normally have driven to the wall last year, and doesn't know exactly why.
All right, so there's a guy who's got to turn it around here in the second half for the Indians to win. Who else do you have in mind?
Well, I don't know, turn it around, but I think a guy who's become very, very important to what they're doing is Roberto-Perez. You know, can he keep this up? Because he's turned himself into a legitimate, you know, tough out now.
Yeah, and the question is, as a catcher, what does that do to his hitting, and what does the hitting do to the catcher?
I mean, we had one of the guys we had too was Sandy Alomar, you know, who still looks great when you see him, but he still has issues with his back from being from all those years of being behind the plate. So yeah, it's a tough. As seasons go on, those guys are asked to do a lot, and not just manage games, manage pitching staffs, but also get on base and drive in runs. And he's been a big part of what they've done over the last month.
My important guy is Jason-Kipnis. Yeah. Almost like adding a new player with him when he produces, and he's doing quite well since at this point. And you see what he's done through June 15th last year, and what he has done so far.
Yeah, you know, the idea of buying or selling, you know, beyond listening to offers for Trevor-Bauer, you just wonder, like, what does it entail? I mean, no one's going to come looking for Kipnis, I don't think, with his numbers.
Right, with his numbers and his money.
I mean his contract and his numbers. So it's really, I think it comes down to Brad Hand and Trevor-Bauer. And what will you do in that case if you're the Indians?
There's an added factor here, and that is, how do you think you'll do next year? Is Chicago ready to challenge, which I think they are? In fact, I think I'm more worried next year about Chicago than I might be against Minnesota. So the question is, if you unload for this season, are you taking next season down with you, or will you find somebody else? But I'm not sure who you find better than those two guys at their positions.
Yeah, I mean, do you think if they you just said that you believe they'll be in first place by the end of this 17-game run? Now, Trevor-Bauer's only going to pitch 3 of those games,
correct?
Right?
So that wouldn't matter that much.
So I think, and I might be wrong, but if they're getting good reports on how Kluber looks, they feel good about Clevenger, they already know what they have in Bieber, I think that they'll have to listen to, only because, again, he's going to command $18 million next year in arbitration.
Right.
They don't want to pay it. And they certainly don't want to pay it to a guy that is not going to listen to any negotiations for a long-term deal. So what are you doing then? You're going to carry him for another year at $18 million and hope that you win again?
If you're the Indians, do you not trade with the Yankees? Do you not trade with
I don't know.
Houston?
That's the tough one. And I know how you felt about if you're going to trade Kyrie Irving, don't trade him to Boston.
Right.
You know,
trade him to Sacramento.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think they would love to trade him somewhere else, but would you feel better if they traded him to Houston? than the Yankees? I don't know why you would.
There's a part of me that forgets Houston's in the American League.
Yeah, I know. Same here. I have to remind myself. But
and
so yeah,
good.
I think ideally they'd love to deal him to, a team that's really. The Dodgers don't really need starting pitching, do they? But they certainly need some more bullpen help. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, because now I think this is a feel-good week here.
Yep.
Fans are into baseball, into the All-Star game.
And they will be this weekend. I'm assuming every game is sold out.
They will be this weekend with the Twins coming in. And then if you follow that up by trading your ace, and that's what Bauer is right now, there's going to be some blowback for that.